Okay, Abusunaba Makwa Abashonkoso at the POG Media. So breaking news. President Mahama petition to remove EC chairperson J.Mensah together with Dr. Eric Bosman Asare, Samuel Tete, and Dr. Peter Apiahene from the Electoral Commission. Abusunya breaking news on Isiano John Dramani Mahama HSA wa petitioner Isiano J.Mensah Ejebo Eja Enya Berry John Dramani Mahama Isiano Oba Beji Nedi Efrini office Oba Be Sakeno Efrini office Abusunya Enye easy cry J.Mensah no yede ne ho nsem bebre abrem na sisia de afei na abrewa eyi poma wakwema sisia John Dramani Mahama Oba Beye no ho adwuma enye asem keto akura ntabusia we ni breaking news e wo yensem mumre no yanko na yankonkoti ensema ekos na answer na ebeko no wo ensem kan bi afahye your comment section like na share ma afoforo so ensa into me enka bi aha eye POG Media so madam ase
to another petition coming through and backing the calls for the removal of the leadership of the Electoral Commission. In fact, in the last few hours, that has been the talk of the nation, and it's the reason for which we're seeking to examine the course of action and, of course, hearing from the petitioners on why they believe that these four individuals ought to leave office. Well, this is the composition largely of the Electoral Commission, minus a few individuals who make up the sole body that's been responsible for the organization of elections across the country. Well, the 2024 election has been without at least significant incidents, but there are emerging calls for all these individuals here that you see to leave office. And of course, precisely the demand is for them to be removed by President John Dramani Mahama, who has been today petitioned through his office. We'll get into the details and why, of course, the petitioner is making a strong case for that. But let's give you a sense of what is happening here. This is the person leading the charge at the Electoral Commission of Ghana. J.Mensah needs no introduction because in the wake of the 2024 elections, we also saw her activity leading that process for the Commission in executing the 2024 election, which saw the election of John Dramani Mahama as the President of the Republic. She was supported by these three individuals. Bosman Asare was Deputy Chairperson in charge of Corporate Affairs. We then had, of course, Samuel Tete also coming through there as one of the deputies who was appointed by President Nana Addo Akuffo. These two individuals as well came through after, if you recall, after the 2016 elections, where, of course, the former EC chairperson, Charlotte Osei, was removed for J.Mensah to now be appointed as the substantive chair of the Electoral Commission of Ghana. Then you have Bosman also coming through at the time with Samuel Tete, all working together at the Electoral Commission. Later on, we had an addition by the president. This individual you see here, Peter Apiahene, who is an academic. He joined the commission, but there were concerns about his personality, a reason for which the petitioner is now asking that action be exacted on these individuals. We'll hear from them shortly, but let's get to it in terms of the grounds for the petition that's coming through to the table of John Dramani Mahama now. He has to deal with four issues that are being presented before him. First is the issue of the breach of fundamental human rights, according to the petitioner. Then there is the issue about gross incompetence. And I'll tell you what, these 2 points are linked together simply because the petitioner believes that if you go back not to the 2024 elections, but the 2020 elections, you would find out clearly that in his view, the people of Central Kofi, Akpafu, Lolobi, and Likpe were not allowed to exercise their franchise. And it's simply because of some delimitation of the borders, creation of the constitution issues and controversies over it that made these significant number of people disenfranchised. That's the claim of the petitioner, at least. All of these needs to be verified and, of course, prima facie established by the Chief Justice. We'll get into that for you, but clearly these are the basis upon which the petitioner is proceeding to make his claims based on, first of all, the breach of the fundamental human rights of all of these individuals within the SAL area, and scaling that up to say, if all these people did not participate in the elections, it goes without saying that you, of course, can be found culpable of gross incompetence. That's the argument of the petitioner. We'll get into all of that for you. Now, the pronouncements of Dr. Bosman Asare is also coming up tonight, because there are pieces of publications that, and quotes, of course, from this academic who's now being taking up for his word, and some claims he made against the National Democratic Congress. A reason for which the petitioner believes that some of these comments by Dr. Bosman Asare tantamount to bias. That's his claim. We're not too sure if, of course, all of these will be upheld by the Chief Justice, because then she has quite a significant work to do. And there are other inactions that are undermining, public confidence in the Electoral Commission, as being speculated by the petitioner. And you get to hear from the petitioner, because I'm sure that's a bigger question on your mind. Who's this individual? Why is he doing it? What's the motive? All of that will be answered tonight. But wait, let's get to the evidence, because you can't just make claims and expect the president to act, because the president will now forward this per the process, which I'll be breaking down for you, to the Chief Justice. So which means that you need to provide evidence. The petitioner has done that. Indeed, what he has done is to, first of all, lay his grounds on the Gwan district, and as I was pointing to, the Central Kofi, Akuffo, Likpe, and Lolobi areas, which he believes are individuals, a group of individuals who've been left out from making their voice heard in the 2020 elections. Beyond that as well, there's the issue about the social media comments being made by Dr. Bosman Asare. In fact, it did not make some of the comments on social media. It was actually on mainstream media, but that was carried out heavily on social media. We'll get into the specific comments and some of the claims for which the petitioner believes this is a display of bias. He'll justify all of that for us. And then there's the issue about Dr. Peter Apiahene, because for him, if you recall, even CSOs had raised concerns asking President Akuffo to exact some actions on his appointment, because clearly the CSOs and the likes of the Center for Democratic Development had the view that this individual had some affiliation or whatsoever with the New Patriotic Party. He's not made any public pronouncements on that to affirm or deny. All the petitioner seeks to be relying on is an interview that Peter Apiahene himself allegedly identified his liking for the New Patriotic Party. So these are the claims for which, broadly, the petitioner is proceeding on: misbehavior, incompetence, and of course is pointing to some other issues that undermine the integrity of the Electoral Commission. And he's situating all of that in the Constitution, because the Constitution has to give you the power to proceed. And he's acting, according to him, and per the letter he wrote to John Dramani Mahama, the president, today. That letter dated today is situating all of that within Article 146 of the Constitution. So that's why the lawyers will be helping us, unpack all of this. The Constitution points out to misbehavior, incompetence, physical infirmity, and mental infirmity as the grounds for which you can remove the EC, commissioners. These people are being equated to the level of justice of appeal in terms of the constitutional provision, in terms of their conditions of service. So if you want to remove them, the only way to is to activate the route of the Article 146, which is being done now by the petitioner on issues of stated misbehavior, incompetence, and then he's talking about discretionary power, which, of course, will now lead us to this long road to point 5, where the president would have to act based on reports that will be submitted by a committee. So the president himself appears to just be a conveyor belt in the process, if you take a look at it, because this is going to be a long road. Take a look at this. The petition today has been submitted. The president will now receive it. The indication we're getting is that that's on the table. It's at the Flagstaff or the Jubilee House. So the next step, if indeed the president, finds this worthy, is to move that to the Chief Justice, for the Chief Justice to determine if indeed there's some elementary point of evidence, which of course the lawyers will tell us is prima facie. If that exists, then we'll be moving to the third stage, where of course the committee will now be set up, 3 superior justices of course, and then we'll have two individuals who are not lawyers, who are not MPs, also being part of that committee. So it's going to be a long road where you would even have that committee, first of all, investigate the claims. Hearings will be done in camera. That would also be a very long process because, mind you, all of these persons, 4 of them actually, have to be represented. They need to be giving a fair hearing as well. And then, whatever recommendation is made, the president, according to the Constitution, shall act in accordance with the recommendations coming through from that committee. So it's a long road, for all these 4 individuals that we're talking about tonight. And of course, if you have your views, you'll be free to share them with us on our socials at Joy News on TV. But this is asking for the removal of some 4 leading members of the Electoral Commission. So you've been asking that question here on the show. Who's the petitioner behind this? And of course, why is he petitioning the president, particularly when the 2024 elections is almost done and dusted? He's here with me, and of course, let's allow him to introduce himself. Your name?
My name is Daniel Ofosu-Appiah.
Okay, so Daniel Ofosu-Appiah is the one who's triggered this letter today, correct?
Yes.
And there are many asking the question, Daniel, that has your letter been received?
Yes, of course.
By the presidency?
Yes, of course. I was there around in between 3 to 4 this afternoon, and I submitted a petition.
Right. And simply because this conversation is also matters bordering on constitutionality, fortunately, Mr. Igwe is joining us, is the former Attorney General, and he will be shaping up the discourse in terms of the constitutionality and also as we look at the details of this petition. But Daniel, let's hear your story, because I was just giving a sense to our viewers as to the grounds for which you're proceeding with this petition. Some would say that 2024 was by far one of the peaceful elections that we had in this country. And that, just as the EC chairperson would have said, it is indeed finished. Of course, those very last words of the EC that has got the nation talking. So why not let sleeping dogs lie and just commend the EC for delivering a good elections?
First of all, good evening to your cherished viewers. And as you may recall, the former president, the president, Akuffo Addo, he tasked all of us Ghanaians not to be spectators, but we should be citizens. Citizens for that matter. And also, I'm a Ghanaian. I'm a citizen. If I feel or see that there's something that is going on that is not right, which is contrary to what is in the Constitution, I'm obliged, I'm under the Constitution to do something per Article 2 of the Constitution. It's either you take a step or you go to the Supreme Court. If you think there's something that is going on that is contrary to the Constitution, which is supreme.
Right.
Okay. So prior to the 2020 elections, on the eve of the 2020 elections, the EC issued a communique. On the eve of 7 hours to the election, issue a communique preventing the people of Central Kofi, Lolobi, Akpafu, and Likpe from casting their vote, from exercising their constitutional human right under Article 42, which, if I may quote, every citizen of Ghana, 18 years of age or above and of sound mind, has the right to vote and is entitled to register as a voter for that purpose of public elections and referenda. So this is enshrined in the Constitution. There's nothing like discretionary powers, or there's nothing like making a decision in a vacuum without the tangible explanation to it, preventing somebody from exercising this basic fundamental human right. But what did we see? That is exactly what happened prior to the 2020 election.
And we just need to put on record that these are your claims. Because the Electoral Commission, to be fair, indeed gave reasons for which it did not allow these individuals to vote. It wasn't as though...
It wasn't enough.
Right.
I won't say it was enough. I've added it to some of the SCP.
Right.
It wasn't enough. The reason they gave was because that is why the incompetence aspect is there.
Right.
Because you, as an EC, you have to foresee all these things that, okay, you need a longer time to do this, you need to fix it before. You don't wait until the eve of the elections, then you issue a communique that, oh, you people, the three of you, Houston, you're not going to cast your vote.
Right.
You're only going to vote in the presidential, but for the parliamentary, you are not going to be represented in Parliament.
You're doing like a 2-in-1 for the breach of the fundamental human rights,
which is first,
and then you feel based on that, incompetence will then set in. That's what the two.
That is the second ground.
The second point that you're raising, right?
So, for you not allowing them to vote for their representative, they were. Can you imagine? For the whole 4 years, they were not represented in Parliament. No representative whatsoever. Our brother Franklin Kujo took it up to the Supreme Court, and what came out was that, they don't have jurisdiction, they should go to the High Court. They were through out. They actually went to the High Court too, nothing was done whatsoever. So, looking at all these things, I feel like, look, I'm a citizen. And under the Constitution has given you and I the power that anything like this, we've seen that it is going contrary to what is enshrined in the Constitution. We have to take action. We have to do something about it. In this case, what do? I trigger Article 146 because somebody have to do it. If we don't do it, if tomorrow, let's say, J.Mensah retires or whatsoever, anybody over there can just use discretion and do whatever and go get away with it.
So that's why you're concerned, first of all, as a citizen. Yeah. The point about locals will definitely come up, the point of interest, right? Because I'm taking a look at the petition you sent to the Jubilee House today, and it states that you... And I'm just judging by your address.
Okay.
That you hail from the Volta region.
Yes, of course, Hohwe.
Right. That's not the Guan district, is it?
No, but it doesn't matter. You don't have to be a citizen of Guan. You don't have to be from Hohwe. You don't from Likpe. You don't have to be. Once you are a Ghanaian under Article 2, you are entitled to do what I'm doing right now. It's either you take it to court or you trigger Article 146. Which lay down procedures for the removal of Superior Court judges, where the lady J.Mensah, Bossman, Mr. Samuel Tete, and Dr. Peter Apiahini, they fall under that, Superior Court judges. So by so doing, I've triggered 146. Yeah.
Irrespective of where you come from.
Yeah.
You're also mindful that this is a highly political subject in this country.
Of course.
You're not mindful of that?
Look, it doesn't matter whether it is political matter or not. What is right, what is wrong. What the thing that happened to these 4 towns, it doesn't matter whether it is a politically charged case or not. What is right, the Constitution, it is wrong, ab initio. Something must be done. We have to do something about it so that anybody who is going to occupy the office one day will not just use their discretion and just prevent people from getting their representative in Parliament. So it doesn't matter whether it is political matter or not. And for you saying political matter, in the petition, I raised a point that it was somehow deliberately done so that as at that time, we were having a hung Parliament. So in the petition, I pointed it out that it was deliberately, in a sense that if those people in those constituency, Guan, were to vote, maybe the NDC, the opposition then, may have majority in Parliament. So I put it there that it was deliberately done.
But to point out the records, John Peter Amewu then had won the seats in
the
whole area. Yes.
But we're having hung Parliament. So those 4 people voting for the Guan constituency may maybe actually shift in the favor of NDC. So I think that is one of the main reasons why she did what she did.
Is J.Mensah, Bossman Asari, Dr. Peter Apiahini, and Samuel Tete, are they beyond forgiveness?
Not at all. What is wrong is wrong, my brother. What they did, the East.
I mean, to err is human, and that's why I'm asking the question. I'm not just asking
but somebody have to do it.
Right.
Somebody have to do it. You are supposed to. You can also do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not only me. I don't have to come from that place before I do the right thing. Once it is wrong, somebody have to take it on. It is better late than never. Somebody will say, why now? Why now? Why 4 years ago you didn't send it to Akuffo, and you have to wait until there's a change of government? Look, what is wrong now is wrong now. Whether it is 10 years or whatever, somebody have to do something about it. So it doesn't matter whether I have to take it to Akuffo or why should I have to wait until there's a change of government on. What is wrong, my brother.
Okay, and Lawyer Ni Aikweotu, you're with us, fortunately. You've been listening to this emerging call. And of course, the petition is now going to the President, John Dramani Mahama, for him to act. And unfortunately, this has got to do with an election that, stems back from 2020. You feel that it will be sufficient grounds for any action to be exacted? And kindly unmute for us so we can hear the points you're sharing.
Okay, can you hear me?
Loud and
we need and some so our political highway. So John Dramani Mahama and Mahama, your friend J.Mensah, Nintuma Bonia, Wababayan Sisiano, the time as soon say, Yabe Pamo on an Akuffo na Bossman Asarene, Samo Titine, Dr. Peter Apiahene. Some Akuffo na Akuffo Akuffo Addo ede omoje adwuma bone ewo Ghana hasia. Ghana for aka omo sembia. Sisiano John Dramani Mahama ebe fire omo every omo office. Abusuya we ne ensem ekoso. Ebeda ma sesamo jepene kokoti sa odi we edimai. Aha POG Media so. Beda ma se.